one of the most important things from my perspective, Samuel, relative to emotional intelligence is people need to get to know themselves extremely, extremely well. And, a couple of aspects with that. Number one, people need to know who are you? What are you? What are your guiding values? People need to know that, and they also need to be able to articulate that and to be able to talk about it with people. And that's from both sides of the equation, if you will, both personally and professionally. The latest research of which I'm aware is indicating clearly colleagues at work want to know these things. This is who I am. This is what I represent. My guiding values are. And then you need to stick by them. You need to be consistent with those. In addition, we also need to know what our strengths are. Every single person who is on this earth has certain strengths. I have my strengths. I'm proud of them. I have fun with my strengths. I'm going to keep this to a work perspective, even though again it is applicable personally.
Yeah.
I share my strengths openly and freely with people at work. I'm going to do it right now. And I hope this comes across as confident and not arrogant, because that's how I mean it. A couple of my strengths: I'm a good facilitator. I understand the material that I'm presenting, I prepare well, and I generate good discussion. Number two, I'm a very good resource to people. Over the past 20, 23 years, whatever it's been, I've read over 400 leadership books. And that makes me a resource to people. I can make book recommendations. I can pull information from these books and share it with people. It allows me to coach well.
That's
And the
awesome.
point I make here, people need to know their strengths, and equally as important for me, they need to be comfortable talking about them at work. Whether I'm talking to my boss, whether I'm talking to my direct reports, whether I'm talking to other colleagues, I need to be able to talk about those openly and freely. And I would actually ask you a question here, if I can, Samuel. What do you think the rationale is, or what's the importance of being able to articulate, talk about your strengths openly and freely?
If you would ask me to answer that question on a personal level, I feel like when we come together for a purpose, which is to make transaction, make exchange. Now, I might be here to help you with one need or the other. Even if it's friendship, we come together to build a rapport and have certain kind of conversation.
Hmm.
Now, me knowing my strengths and be able to articulate it makes me become resourceful to you. Now, when you need certain kind of information, you know that, oh, Samuel can do this. He's very good at this. I don't need to start romping around and look for where to get that resource from because I know exactly where to go. So that is, I'm able to identify the value that I bring to the table, my contribution to that gathering or to that workplace. And being able to articulate it properly helps the leader and the facilitator in that area to know what I come with, and now I can impact that society.
Samuel, that's exactly from my perspective. It truly, truly is. Is that now,
Mhm.
oh, okay, we're starting to get to know each other here. We can leverage each other's strengths. I don't have to know everything. It's impossible. I
Yep.
can go to you. I can go to other colleagues. I can go, wherever it might be. Is that, and we need to know this about each other so we can again just help each other, assist each other
Yep.
in addition to knowing your strengths. Some people have said to me over the years, oh, when I ask them to articulate their strengths, it's like, I feel like I'm bragging. I always say, this is not bragging by any stretch. Everyone has strengths. These happen to be mine.
Mhm.
And in addition to that, it's also not bragging because, again, I'll speak for myself. I know darn well I also have limitations.
Mhm.
There are things I don't do that well.
Mhm.
And I share my strengths openly and freely. I also share my limitations with people openly and freely. And I'm going to do that right now because I don't do everything well. One of my limitations, Samuel, is I'm not real strong technically. I never have been, I never will be. If something goes wrong with with the technology that we're using right now, I don't know how to fix it. I mean, I can do the basics, of course I can do that.
Yeah.
If something goes haywire when I'm doing a presentation technically, my hand goes up immediately. Hey guys, I need some help here. I don't know what to do. In addition, I also don't write particularly well. I struggle putting the proverbial pen to paper. I'm just not real good at that. And I am completely open to having people help me when I write because I'm not great at it. I'm so grateful that my wife is a glorious writer. She writes beautifully. She taught elementary school for 30 years.
Hmm.
She writes beautifully. Her grammar is just flawless. So whenever I write an article, or if I write a coaching summary after having spent time with somebody, immediately, Lori, would you help me with this, please? Because I'm not good at it. She's glad to do it. It gets done instead of me struggling mightily to try to, what's the right grammar here? How could I phrase this differently? I have a resource who can help me.
Already.